Welcome back to another edition of the Lenders Gone Wild podcast. I'm your host, Matt Meyer. Real excited to be joined today with Jesse Stewart from One Roof. Good to see you, sir. Thank
Cheers,
you for
brother.
being here. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah,
very excited.
Yeah, no, bro. I'm so glad that we made this work. We've, obviously crossed paths, being in this office space together with Space and Zayback Media and Canopy and One Roof and now Nectar. And every time I show up to the office, there's like a new business.
Family's growing, baby.
I love it. Right. But I'll tell you, one of the things I've been most impressed with over the couple of years I've been around here is the expansion of what you guys are doing at One Roof. So I really want to dive into that because I know you've got a ton of exciting things to share about what's happening over there. But before we get there, just tell us a little bit about you, your background. How did you find your way into this crazy real estate world? Just a little bit about your story, from however early you want to start.
Yeah, beautiful. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm born and raised here, Arizona. Married, have a 3-year-old son.
Awesome.
Love the Lord. I got into real estate at 19. So I was in a part of a young adult group from my church, and one of the guys that was a part of that group, his name was Josiah Grimes, and Josiah is the CEO and president of a company called Keegley and New Reach Education. So anyways, so just through a small friend group, Josiah was starting this wholesaling company. Now, I didn't have any, I came from a blue collar background.
Okay.
I graduated with a 2.7 GPA.
Okay.
And my calling was going to be an electrician like my dad.
Got it.
So,
did you started doing any of the apprenticip work in that direction?
100%. I was 2 years in. Yeah, 2 years in. Right out of high school, pretty much. So, and then I was making $16 an hour, but Josiah started hiring a couple of my friends, and he was paying them a little bit more. And my friends kept telling me "Oh, dude, I'm doing real estate for a living. This is so cool," And
great.
I thought, "Well, that sounds cool, but what is it you do?" And he's like, "Well, we buy houses." And I'm like, "That's cool. Whatever." Long story short, they ended up recruiting me. I joined that team in 2017. I was, I think, 19 or barely 20 at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was my start to real estate. I got put in a little room, no bigger than the space we're sitting in now, with a sheet of paper, and they said, "Hey, call these agents.
Yep.
Tell them you're looking for an investment property. When you get an address, you can come out." So I said, "Okay, cool," and just ripped the phones. And
that's great.
In fact, it was so funny because the company at the time was super, discreet about what we were doing in our business. So I didn't even know we were wholesaling. I didn't know what that was. I just was I'd get an address. I'd say, "Well, offer them this." I'd have no context. I just get on the phone. But anyways, long story short, I ended up, I was with that company for 5 years. They franchised, I think in 2021, and I had done fairly well in sales, on the sales team. They brought me over to help train new franchisees. So a franchisee would buy a license, and they'd come to our office for a week, and I would train them and launch their wholesale biz, and ended up.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a great experience. My superpower is teaching. I'm a great teacher. I'm a coach. I love that.
Yeah.
And so it was a great fit for me. Learned a lot about the business. I ended up owning and operating. I exited from working there corporate. Owned and operated 2 of my own franchises. Turned out I did not enjoy running a business.
Yeah.
I loved being a part of a large team. I loved the volume of business that we were doing as a team. And I kind of there's a lot I didn't know about running a business, and ended up exiting that, and I did some fix and flip stuff on my own. I did some wholesale deals on my own, just trying to figure out what is it that I wanted to do.
Sure.
My wife of at that time of 2-3 years we'd been married. We had just had our son was born. Just kind of trying to find my way. Well, Thomas, who's one of the owners of One Roof, he and I worked for that company. So he actually started that company.
You guys worked at Keegley back to
At Keegley, yeah. He had started about 6 months prior to me being there.
Got it.
And so that's that connection.
Did he come from the church group too?
Different. No, no. He was. He came from a Craigslist ad, if you believe it.
That's awesome.
I don't know when the last time you heard of someone getting hired from a Craigslist ad, but you know. But anyways, dear friend.
He's a great guy.
He started One Roof, merged with Austin. You know,
Yep.
whatever, 3 years ago now. And I was just kind of in my hiatus. So last year in August 24, they called me. They said, "Hey, we're ready to hire a VP of sales. You know, I don't know what you're up to, but you know, come join our team." And
That's amazing.
Rest
So
is
you'd
history.
all kind of known each other from being in that space, whether you worked together or Austin and you hadn't previously worked together, but still knew each other, right?
Yeah. So like, funny enough, back in 2000, I want to say 19, Austin was actually a supplier for me at Keegley. So Austin and his business partner were wholesaling,
Yep.
and I was their point of contact. They'd send me their deals. I'd get them sold for them. So I knew Austin even. It was just kind of a weird
That's beautiful how that sometimes
full
works
circle
together.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I teased him about it. This was when Austin was like driving the Lamborghini and stuff. He was wanted to go get lunch with me because they were trying to scale up their operation in the Atlanta, Georgia market, and that was the market I was focused on at that company, Keegley.
Sure.
I was their Atlanta guy. And so he's like, "Hey, I'd love to buy you lunch and just kind of learn from you. What are you guys seeing? All this stuff." And so I pulled up in my 2004 Ford Ranger. Okay, this is my little beater truck, and Austin pulled up in his Lamborghini Urus, and I just thought, "What am I doing, sitting next to this guy?" But it was amazing. Austin was absolute, just wonderful. He was super humble, and you know, and it was just for me as a 22-year-old kid, just thinking, holy smokes, like this is the world I'm in. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Well, and it's right. Sometimes you don't know like the connections you're going to make or what they're going to turn into, right? Like we all have people that are part of our stories that came in and out of or in, out and back into our lives for who knows what reasons and when, and like,
Totally.
right. It would have been really easy to walk away from that with like, oh, this young flashy guy with the Lambo. And then, but really you come to find out like behind all of that, right, which would been really easy to judge exterior,
Totally.
is one of like the smartest, hardest working, humblest dudes that you could ever be in business with. And so it's like, it's a really cool part of your story that you guys got back together. Here you are together now, growing and scaling. So tell me a little bit about One Roof and kind of what sets you guys apart, what's unique. I mean, I'm watching the growth, so obviously there's some magic or secret in that sauce.
Of course. Yeah, I love talking about it. It's super fun. So when I got here, there was 9 salespeople on the staff. So we had 9 people on staff. We now have 24 sales reps, and then we have 4 staff members too, which is really really cool. So we've seen a lot of growth in the.
That's cool.
Just over 12 months I've been here. One Roof is a nationwide wholesale, real estate company. Our if I had to call it our service, what is it that we do is we just are really good at selling investment properties to cash buyers. We do it at a very high volume, and we do it at margins that a lot of people aren't getting, are able to do in this business. Right now we're actively transacting in 9 states across the U.S. A lot of your big metros that you would expect, Arizona, Texas, Nevada, Florida, Georgia, right?
Yep.
And it's really really cool. A lot of our business and what's kind of unique about our model is that we don't do any like direct to seller marketing. We don't actually do any marketing to homeowners. Okay. Right. So a lot of you guys, when you think of like, okay, sell my house for cash, you see the guys on the billboards and
the TV ads.
The TV ads, you see that stuff. We don't do any of that. We actually we actually build relationships with realtors that are local. And
so you're not working directly on how do I take advantage of this distressed seller, right? And like get her on the phone and then make her feel awful about life, and then right, like unfortunately, there's a part of our industry and, a part of the wholesale world that 100% operates with that kind of.
Unfortunately, yes, and then in Arizona, there's a class action lawsuit from the.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yep, Arizona Attorney General, in fact, has gone after anybody and everybody who's a wholesaler. Luckily, we're not a part of that. I don't even know how, because they're going after people that don't even do that.
Right.
But there was some bad actors that was their whole
Just
business.
takes a couple. Yeah.
You know, and so the lawsuit's really after those guys, but just, you know, they kind of looped the whole basket in.
Let's get everybody here and figure out who's
which
actually
is
guilty.
which is like unfortunate, you know, because it's it's such a valuable and needed, you know, service. Like a lot of like, for example, what a lot of people don't realize is that you can, by working with the right like wholesaler or wholesale company, they can actually put more money in your pocket than if you sold directly to an investor that came from the MLS. Every single investor we talk to, a lot of them don't even buy deals from the MLS. They don't like it. There's so much visibility. There's highest and best. There's bid ups. There's all these extra red tape around it. A lot of them don't even touch it, is what they tell us.
Interesting.
They'll pay a premium for something that is off the market. Because it's exclusive and it's
cleaner,
you know,
it's faster, simpler,
quicker, simpler, you know. And so a lot of people, what we find is agents are thrilled to work with us because any agents who've listed that type of property on the market, man, they get flooded with all.
Well, it's an additional buyer pool for them, right? Because that your contacts literally have said we're not buying through this channel.
Exactly, and
really cool.
and it isn't like it's 5 or 6 investors that are saying that. It's hundreds of investors that are only buying off market deals. It's like it's actually insane. And so that's where we've kind of made our niche of is solving that problem for the investors.
Yep.
And then being that solution for a lot of real estate agents and other wholesalers. You know, other wholesalers will have a deal in a contract.
Sure.
And they can't sell it. We often can sell it for quite a bit more money than they could if they did on their own, and a lot faster, just because we have a really good system.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have investors that are holding too, or is everybody flipping?
For sure, most of our product is flippers.
Yeah,
because like the guys, like one, with the exception of like pad split is something unique that we're really trying to tap into. We actually we're working with the team at Pad Split to get more of their customers buy and hold type deals. But honestly, most of what we're doing are fix and flippers, and a lot of it just comes down to the houses that we end up buying. Unfortunately, people don't want to just like undersell us their home, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it is the houses are really beat up.
Yeah.
And so what we find is a lot of, not all, but a pretty fair amount of our buy and hold guys, they don't like the fix and flip.
Those aren't great.
They want something that's maybe more turnkey, and and the other thing is the area. You know, we buy a lot in like lower income areas, that kind of stuff.
Got it.
And so
they definitely, that's where the properties that fit, right, the investor profile and appetite, that's where they exist, right? It's
totally.
It's just a matter of we'll do it anywhere, but this is typically where we see the deal makes sense. So, so tell me a little bit about like what does success look like? Like so here we are, we have this growing business. We're doing things the right way inside of an industry that doesn't always have that reputation. What does big picture, zoom out, years, months, whatever from now, decades look like in terms of success for Jesse?
Oh man, that's awesome. We want to be $1 million a month company, which in our business isn't something that like is being done.
Yeah.
There's actually there's another large wholesale outlet. They're nationwide. They're a brokerage though, so they operate a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. They actually operate just like a retail real estate team would, except they wholesale only.
Interesting.
And they have $1 billion evaluation on their company, which was like holy smokes. And so for us, our first thing is we want to be $1 million a month company. And so for us that just, it's about how do we help as many people as possible? How do we get our services to be as readily accessible as we possibly can? So and how do we service as many states across the U.S. that we can? Because the cool thing that's also like kind of fun about our business is we're all based here. I don't have anybody on my team that's working virtual.
Everybody's here in
Everybody's
Arizona.
here in the office in Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's awesome.
And we closed 14 houses in Dallas last month.
Right.
Like it's a really cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing, and so that's really that's what we're after right now. And right now, our systems and our processes have gotten to the point with the help of things like using AI to automate certain parts of the process and that type of stuff.
Sure.
Where now it's just about the bodies. It's about getting the people. And I think with the right people, we can get there a whole lot faster.
100%.
Than we can. But yeah, it's fun. That's our big challenge right now is just development, developing the talent we have.
Okay. And then so you said $1 billion, right? Or $1 million a month. What would $1 million a month, like, what is that in terms of like household impact? Like how many clients would you have to serve in order to hit that kind of number? What kind of vision do we have?
For us, we'd probably need to close between 80 and 100 properties a month.
Wow.
Which is double what we have right now.
That's amazing though. Right?
Yeah.
Like the idea of like 100 homeowners, right, that are able to find a solution, right? And a lot of times this is like a life-changing necessity, right?
Yes.
Not just we're finding an opportunity for our investors, right? 100% that's a client you serve. But on the other side of that coin is somebody who needs to be treated fairly in a tough spot.
Yeah, and what would a stat that will blow your mind? My team, because we have a high volume of properties that get sent to us that are from wholesalers. These are wholesalers who already have found that seller. We literally underwrite more than 400 properties every month. It is like a staggering amount of opportunity that's out there.
Yeah.
But it's a staggering amount of homeowners who are in that situation. We've seen I don't know, it's actually been mind-boggling to me. And what's crazy about it is a majority of that volume is coming from simply 3 states, our top 3 states. Because my wholesale guys, they're really locked in on our Arizona, Texas, and North Carolina.
Okay.
It's a staggering amount.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, why we're just putting foot on the gas. I mean, we hired 12 people last month alone, just because, man, there's such a huge opportunity, and as we begin to, get these deals closed and solve these problems for the sellers, the more we can get out there and help these people, the less of the crappy actors you have to worry about in the marketplace.
Sure. That's interesting that in that part of the growth motivation is also an improvement of the industry.
Yes.
Right. And I think that resonates on the mortgage side as well. A lot of the reason we're at Canopy, right, is high transparency, high value, low cost, better tech, but still real people.
Yeah.
Right. So if we can use better tech to create lower costs, that should translate into lower rates. But you still have genuine people taking care of you. It's not
totally
right. The AI is not running our business yet.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So, I love that kind of spot. It feels like we are in the industry and in the world, society as a whole, right? Where there's very much like people reinventing themselves because of the values they bring or the experience they bring, which is going to always trump what you can do just through technology and efficiencies, right? So AI can do a lot of things, right? But AI is not going to be able to take care of that woman or that widower or that kid that inherited or whatever. That's like, what do I do now? Right? How do I get out of this situation that I need relief from? Right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be able to feel.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, as intuitive as they make some of these things to be,
that's right.
It will never be human.
Right.
And I think that's where like experience and integrity kind of like can trump what the coding could potentially, eventually deliver.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I think that and two, there's there's been a pretty, it's kind of interesting. it's like almost every month we're hearing of a new state that's doing some type of legislation, but the government's starting to put a lot of red tape around that business practice too of wholesale real estate, which we're of the opinion that that's a good thing.
That's a great thing,
right? And so what it does is it's gonna correct the nasty, ugly business practices, and then the good part about like our business, and because of the way we do business,
yep,
less competition, which is really fun for us, which we're excited about. But it is cool to see that that like local and state level governments are taking that seriously, and South Carolina, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, even recently, they've all passed some pretty significant just things. Because the sucky part is that sellers don't realize it, but man, as soon as ink goes on that paper, if they're not careful, they're locked in with some of these guys.
Right.
And
there's a lot of exposure that we left out of the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Like
totally.
Unfortunately, that's where the reputation comes from. The bad actors.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Which is another reason too why we like working with agents as well.
Yeah.
Right. It's a really cool thing, because honestly too, like a lot of it makes sense for my brain is, when it comes to home troubles, house troubles, a homeowner's most likely going to call an agent.
Yeah.
And so even for us, that extends our reach, I think, even more so than.
But it also puts another professional in the conversation,
yes.
right? That has a license and a requirement to act in the best interest of the client,
yep.
right? So it serves as a protection
yes.
of the very thing that you're trying to create business practices to solve in an industry where that hasn't always been prioritized.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
So I love that. That's really cool, man. And what, so in your real estate journey, you've always just wholesaled.
Yeah. Like,
Never
and
took a license, never.
I have a real estate license.
Okay.
Well, I let it expire.
Yeah.
If you looked me up, I think I've had 4 listings since I got it in 2018.
Okay.
But,
got it.
yeah, that's been my world is wholesale real estate. I've done about 6 fix and flip projects personally.
Okay.
And that's it. I've literally I've never even bought a personal residence before.
Got it.
Like I've just I've always so
we can
kind of
work on that.
100%.
Yeah. Let me know when you need to get qualified.
Yeah.
So then in your real estate journey, right, talking to lots of investors, lots of agents, sellers, you see kind of like the full gamut, but from a different perspective,
totally.
right? Then because you're not in the transaction as much as you are facilitating it.
Yeah.
What are some of like the crazy things that you've seen kind of go? I mean, it's real estate, it's people.
Yeah.
It's high stress, high strain, and probably even amplified a little bit in the wholesale world. What are just some of the things like that you can share with us legally?
Yeah.
That, right? Hey, this really wild, this really crazy, interesting.
Yeah.
You got any fun stories for the group?
Dude, so I can't without saying too much. We had this deal, and the poor agent that we were working with, she was a listing agent, meaning she's working with the seller, right? And she was clueless, but her client, the so-called homeowner, turned out to be fraudulent, and so they had forged a deed for the house.
Title fraud.
Yeah, and I don't remember what signature they forged, but they forged a government like an official's signature on it as well in order to get it recorded and stuff.
Wow.
And dude, it was something. There was some the name was off by like one letter. It was an Indian name, and the way that title found, we had literally gotten clear title and everything. We got a title commitment, the whole gambit. We were getting ready to close. And the only thing is when that seller came in to sign, there was a letter that was off, one letter off on the name, on the deed, and on their driver's license, the so-called seller. Anyways, long story short, title was like, hold the phone, let's look into this. It turns out this guy was like a career fraud type person.
One letter on the driver's
One
list.
letter is what caught it. Dude, it was crazy. The actual homeowner themselves, it was an absentee owner, so they didn't live there, had no idea it was even happening. But yeah, we just had that happen, which was crazy.
What do you do?
Dude, it was like, it was, it was kind of like even our buyer was like dumbfounded. They're just like, I'd never even seen anything like this. And so we quickly kind of like, hey, we're good. We didn't hold the seller hostage or anything, and we just said, hey, we're out of this. Some folks, legal folks, reached out to us and that type of thing. But that was crazy.
Wow. I mean, I guess the blessing in all of that, right, is you're talking about an end user who's an investor.
Yep.
Right? Not.
Yeah.
Right? I've got Joe and Sally and their 2 kids trying to move into this house next week.
Totally.
Like, could you imagine?
That would have been so rough. Yeah. And the buyer was a really good sport about it too. But it was, that was a pretty wild one. We had I remember shortly after Hurricane Ian, I was working in I was actually the general manager for a Keegley franchise location, and our territory was Fort Myers, which Cape Coral was where it got, was destroyed. Dude, that was heartbreaking. Dealing with some of the sellers in there. I remember, and again, I live in Arizona, but I'm chatting with this agent, and the agent's like, you got to help these guys out. And I saw pictures of houses that were halfway underwater. Like I talked to a guy one time. There was whatever the hurricane was right before Ian. Fort Myers had like 2 hurricanes, kind of like a year apart or whatever.
Okay.
And I had a guy who was still battling with the insurance from the first hurricane. Second one came around, and so just seeing some of that.
That's crazy.
It's so devastating. And you guys, I don't know, on the mortgage side, how much of that kind of stuff you deal with?
We have emergency order things, right, where you have, additional requirements regarding the condition of property, or that there's even still a house there, unfortunately, sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like you just have additional checks and balances in what it takes to close a loan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can imagine you're dealing with insurance.
It's now in a crazy flood zone.
Yep.
And all kinds
it's
of
super
stuff.
expensive. You can't even live in your home. You got to pay to live somewhere else. How do I get rid of this thing?
It's tough.
I bet.
And those are tough deals to even sell. And you'd be shocked at the kind of discounts some of these sellers were doing. We just couldn't get them sold sometimes, though.
It didn't matter how deep they went.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And I'm talking if a house was, we're talking about 30, 40 cents on the dollar of what it's worth fixed up. I mean, it was crazy margins. You look at it and you go, whoa. But yeah, that's kind of a bit more on the sad side of things. But
it's really crazy though, because I think the industry as a whole, there are a lot of, when bad things happen, right? That's where you see, kind of, it's unfortunate, but that's where you see the really crazy stories. I had a title insurance issue once with a client one time where they own the house, they're living in the house, it's been a couple of years, and then the knock on the door, this is my house, because there's a fraudulent lien release recorded by an ex-business partner from 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? The bad actors sometimes create these pain points, and it's who's going to step in and solve this? Who's going to help? Who's going to make this make sense? And a lot of times it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right. And you either have the ability to help and serve and do the right thing and make somebody's situation better, or sometimes you just don't, and it's really sad. Right.
Totally.
Luckily, they had title insurance, right?
Yes.
They're not getting kicked out of their house.
Right.
The upside down, underwater, literally underwater house in Fort Myers, that's
it's tough.
It's tough.
Super tough.
It's tough, right? And sometimes you want to help people, and there's not really an outlet to, and sometimes there is, and it can be a gut wrenching business, because the reality is, if it was a matter of we just have an unlimited ability to help the good people,
totally,
That'd be so much fun.
100%.
But that's not always, unfortunately, the reality of things. And so those days are hard days.
Totally.
So
totally.
What else?
What is from your side of the business? Where do you see the like interest rates going, and what are you seeing from your perspective in the retail side of real estate?
Yeah.
Where do you feel we're headed as far as the next couple quarters?
That's a really great question. So we're sitting here in the beginning of October. So for context, whenever you may be watching this, this is not indicative of what might be ahead in real time for you. So we just saw the Fed cut rates for the first time in a year. Rates actually got worse since then. They got better before that because it's telegraphed, right? And a lot of times what we're seeing is there's a lot of the market's forward looking at what the Fed's going to do, and the Fed's looking backwards at what's already happened. And so you get some of these like delays where the headlines and the media don't always tell the whole story, right? Oh, mortgage rates got worse, right? Like as if that's the Fed's fault. No, it's the lack of a clear path after this. Right? Like the rates were already better from 3 weeks ago when things got telegraphed, not as a result of the decision that they made presently. So what I see, just generally based on technical levels in the bond market and a little bit of reading the tea leaves, which again, and the next data point could change all of that. But we also have a government that's shut down right now.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get good labor data, and you're not going to get some of these things that are key pieces of the Fed making a decision. So in times of uncertainty, we typically see a fleet to safety, and bonds are a little bit more attractive. And as a result, mortgage-backed securities have a little bit better performance in the market, and as a result, we see interest rates get a little bit better. So I think we're still moving in the get better direction. I think the average I saw as of this morning nationally was like 6.3 and change. I think we get into the fives by the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah.
I wish that I had a way to guarantee that. What I do really appreciate about the way the market is moving right now is it is this generally slow decline in rates, right? We've seen it trickle down. It's not cliffs and peaks and valleys. And so when the market moves that way, the volatility creates a ton of opportunity, right? Which in some ways is really good, but the sustainability, right, of the market is compromised when we operate that way, right? And so we'll see rates go down a little bit, applications pick up. Rates go up a little bit, applications tick down. They're still up year over year, right? We're still seeing more activity. We're still seeing more buyers. We still have more inventory than we've had in a very long time. We're still seeing a lot of those things, right? To your world, the longer inventory sits, right, the more that agent is going, hey, there are other solutions if we need them.
That's right.
Right? We're seeing a lot of bridge loans because people are going like, hey, I can't get into the house I want with the terms I want, with the offer accepted that is advantageous to me if I have to sell my house in order to move. So how do we find creative ways to use products that help people unlock the thing that is most important to them? Right? The same thing you do, it's just a different application.
Has there been any products that maybe you've rolled out in the last like 12 months or so that you've seen really solve a lot of those problems, such as the high days on market and the stuff we were talking about?
I think buy-side bridge has been a really cool product that we have. That's bridge loans used to be, right, like you just unlock the equity, you take the cash, you get the new loan. What this does is allows you to leverage your existing property with a note on the next property with no payments, right? So I'm basically, right, I'm not extracting and moving. I'm just leveraging and don't have to make a payment on what I've leveraged. And then I have a 6 to 12 month window, depending on the program, to be able to refinance out of that, right? Which is based on an assumption I've sold my home, which has a backup offer to protect the bridge lender. Right. So that bridge lender's going like, hey, in 6 months, if you haven't sold it for whatever you want, I'm buying it for X. Right. And then I, once I know X, then I can take the delta of what you owe and what I know I'm going to buy it for, and I can give it back to Matt, and Matt will refinance you into a new loan. So here you go. You have your new house with a new permanent loan that makes sense for everybody, but we know it day one before we do any of those steps. Right. We built the worst case scenario plan for 6 months from now in advance of, let's just pull the trigger on the emotional decision today. Right. Which is unfortunate, where a lot of people get in trouble with some of these, niche products that solve situational pain. Right. I don't fully understand. So therefore I make the emotional decision because I don't know what other options I have. Right. And I haven't really built the exit strategy. Right. So we're doing a lot of that. And even, I think that's a really cool product. We're seeing, down payment assistance get a little bit more creative. We're seeing investor programs get a little more creative, right? DSCRs that have some fun ways of structuring prepays, right? Like rates that are attractive in certain buckets that, right? Or just they're creating different buyers. Right. Right. And so there's a lot that's happening. But as far as solving the inventory thing, I think bridge is the biggest caveat. Like that's the one that it really impacts that. And if we see rates come down a little bit more, we're going to see a whole lot more sellers. Yeah. Right. That are willing to make that move up that they've been locked in because the gap's just too big. Totally. Right. Yeah. So then we'll see what happens to prices. But to be determined. That's right. Again, if it goes down slow, we'll be okay. Yeah. When demand spikes, then prices go crazy and people start making wild offers. Totally. Right? Totally. Let me spend $100,000 over list, hard earnest, immediately released to the seller, no inspection, no appraisal waiver, right? Like waive all contingencies, like
2022 all over again.
Wild. Yeah, right? Like the things that were happening in the winter, in the first 5 months of 2022 was just insane. Yeah. Just insane. Like no one should have ever bought a house under those conditions. That's right. Like you're literally giving, and some of you probably are in really great homes now, and that's great. Congratulations. But the amount of negotiating power you gave away to like fulfill this thing that you felt like you had to do for whatever reason, man, it was bananas. Yeah. It was bananas. The things that would hit my desk, right? We have to close in 8 days. I was like, that's literally the TRID minimum. Like that's the TRID minimum. Yeah. Yeah.
At that time too, in the wholesale world, you couldn't get enough inventory to sell. Investors were just buying everything. Yeah. It was awesome. Made a bunch of money. It was great.
In your world, you didn't have things that you had to worry about getting off the books.
That's right. Yeah,
that would have been a fun time to be in your space.
Totally, it was good.
And in the flippers, could you imagine?
Oh
yeah,
made crazy. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Just so crazy.
Right? Like the thing went up $10,000 overnight just because 100%. You bought it. It had nothing to do. You didn't do it.
Totally.
Ounce of work yet.
Yeah. 2023 was
different.
It was a little different. But it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. In that
I have like notes on all my clients, right? And so I have there's like a lead that I was just going through some pulled a batch of data or whatever, and I was looking at certain rates, and I had a client that about this time 3 years ago, so like October of 2022. Like literally the message from her was like, I will never buy a house with a 5.5% interest rate. And I was like,
little did she know.
What a difference 3 years makes, right? Like
that's so true. Makes you sick sometimes.
Right? Like the amount of perspective shift that's happened in our market over a 3 year period where it's like this awful thing that feels like I'm getting screwed is now the thing that everybody wishes they could
wants.
have.
100%.
It's just wild. It's just wild. The business is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think, right, you can probably test this, like things ebb, things flow.
Yep.
You know, there's advantageous scenarios for buyers, for sellers. Transaction counts at all-time high, transaction counts at all-time low.
Right.
I think the thing I've learned over, a long time of doing this now is if you do things the right way and you're consistent with how you show up, there's always a place to make money in this business.
Totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And that will always be true. And it will sometimes be more, sometimes be less.
Yeah.
And the how you do what you do will sometimes change because products will evolve, markets will change.
That's right.
But it's still a people business, and you're still solving problems and doing something that hopefully at the end of the day makes somebody's life better.
Love it.
Right. And if I can do that every day, then we had a good day.
Boom, baby.
So awesome, brother. Well, any closing thoughts?
Appreciate you having me on. It's very cool.
Always. Oh, yeah.
Super, super cool.
I really appreciate you jumping in here, man. This
Yeah.
has been fun, and really excited for. We'll have you back on when we've done $1 million a month at one roof.
Let's
How about
go.
that?
I'm gonna have a big old gold chain.
Don't do
It's
that.
gonna have one roof logo.
Don't do that. Don't be that
Diamonds.
guy.
The whole get.
We'll do the podcast. We'll do the podcast in the Lambo. How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, there you go.
Appreciate it, Matt. Thank you,
Awesome.
sir.
Cheers.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, Jesse.
Yep.